Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. Life has a way of teaching lessons without using a megaphone. Sometimes the loudest messages come wrapped in silence, and the deepest truths show up when words run out. Think about that. You ever catch yourself smiling at a memory nobody else knows about? Ever have a quiet moment and feel somebody's absence louder than any argument? That right there is your clue. It's a signal, not a coincidence. Now, I'm not talking about fairy tale love or destiny hand delivered on a silver platter. I'm talking about impact, real impact. The kind that doesn't need text, DMs, or late night apologies to prove it exists. When a person has planted something in your soul, it sits there like a chorus you can't stop humming, like a tune that keeps coming back, whether you want it to or not. You don't need validation for that. Your spirit already knows. Here's the thing: when somebody walks away, most people react the same way. Noise, posts passive, aggressive lines, grand gestures meant to sting. But what if the most devastating response wasn't a shout at all? What if it was the opposite, a quiet, unshakable rise? What if your comeback was your calm, your growth, your absolute refusal to be small? That kind of power is magnetic. It doesn't beg for attention. It commands it. Tonight, I'm going to show you how to turn that quiet knowing into your greatest strength. How to carry yourself so fully, so unapologetically, that regret becomes the echo of their choice. Not through drama, not through hashtags, but through the real work, the way you heal, the standards you keep, the life you build. When you live that way, their absence does what words never could. It becomes the proof of what they lost. Stay with me, because this is not about revenge. This is about reclaiming your dignity, your joy, and your future. And trust me, when you do it right, the silence speaks volumes. Show up for yourself. First thing every day when life knocks you down, when somebody walks away from you, when a man decides he doesn't see your value anymore, you've got two choices. Either you keep staring at that closed door, or you get up and build a new one. And the way you start building that new door, that new chapter, that new version of yourself, is by showing up for YOU. First thing every single day. Because let me tell you, how you start your day sets the tone for everything else. If you begin by pouring into everybody else's cup before you've poured into your own, you'll walk around empty, waiting on somebody else to fill you. But when you take those first moments of the morning to honor yourself, to center yourself, to remind yourself who you are, you carry power into every space you walk into. Now, here's the truth most people don't want to admit. When somebody leaves you, it messes with your mind. You start thinking, was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? Am I too much of this? Not enough of that. And before you know it, you're waking up in the morning with heaviness on your chest, scrolling through their social media, replaying conversations in your head, starting your day already defeated. That is not showing up for yourself. That is showing up for the memory of somebody who already made their choice. You owe yourself better than that. Showing up for yourself means that before you give your energy to anybody else, you claim it for you. It could be as small as 10 minutes, but it's a non-negotiable 10 minutes that belongs to your healing and your growth. Maybe it's prayer. Maybe it's writing down 3 things you're grateful for. Maybe it's walking outside with a cup of coffee, feeling the sun on your face, reminding yourself, I'm alive, I'm here, I've got purpose. That act, simple as it sounds, is you telling your spirit, you matter. Because here's the thing, when you make yourself the first priority of your own day, you stop living like you're waiting for somebody else to pick you. You start living like you've already been chosen. Chosen by you, chosen by God, chosen for the life you're building. Think about it like this: athletes don't wait until game day to start preparing. They've been practicing, stretching, fueling their bodies long before the whistle blows. Your life is the game, and the morning is your practice. If you don't show up for yourself early, you're stepping into the day unprepared, unguarded, vulnerable to whatever storm hits. But if you begin with intention, you're grounded. You've already set the standard for how you'll think, how you'll speak, how you'll carry yourself. That's what makes the difference between walking around heavy with regret and walking around light with confidence. I know some of you are thinking, but Steve, I'm busy. I've got kids, I've got work, I've got responsibilities. I get it. Life is full, but you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give your best to your children, your job, your family, if you don't give your best to yourself first. 10 minutes, that's all it takes. Wake up 10 minutes earlier and write down your goals. Do 10 push-ups. Speak 3 affirmations out loud. I am worthy. I am powerful. I'm not forgotten. Those aren't just words. Those are seeds. And every day you repeat them, you water those seeds until one day you wake up and realize you've grown into the kind of woman who doesn't chase validation. She radiates it. Let me tell you something else. When you show up for yourself consistently, people notice. You don't have to post about it. You don't have to announce it. You don't even have to speak about it. They'll see it in your glow, in the way you walk into a room with your shoulders back, in the calm on your face that says, I know who I am. That's when regret creeps in. Not because you said anything, not because you try to prove a point, but because your transformation is undeniable. A man who thought you needed him to shine will see you shining brighter without him, and that realization burns deeper than any words you could ever speak. But here's the beautiful part. This isn't really about him. It's about you. You're not showing up for yourself to make him jealous or to make him call or to make him wish he stayed. You're showing up for yourself because you finally understand your value. And when you treat yourself like you matter, the world treats you the same way. Opportunities come. Peace comes. Love, real love comes. Not because you chased it, but because you became a magnet for it. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for your phone, before you check who texted, before you scroll and compare your life to anyone else's, stop. Take a deep breath. Say something kind to yourself. Write something down that reminds you of your worth. Stretch, pray, dance, read, whatever fills you. But do it first thing. Because when you show up for yourself at the start of the day, you're not waiting for life to happen to you. You're stepping forward saying, life, I'm ready, I came prepared. And that simple choice made daily will change everything. Build an unapologetic life. Boundaries are your brand. Let me tell you something that might sting at first, but will set you free once it sinks in. The fastest way to lose yourself is by living for everybody else's approval. Too many people walk around apologizing for being who they are, softening their voice so others feel comfortable, bending their back so somebody else can stand taller, saying yes when their whole soul is screaming no. And do you know what happens when you live like that? People get used to it. They get comfortable with you being uncomfortable. They get addicted to your lack of boundaries. That's why if you want to make a man regret losing you, without a word, without a scene, you've got to build an unapologetic life. One where your boundaries are not just lines in the sand, but the brand of who you are. See, boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. Boundaries are gates to protect what's precious inside you. A woman without boundaries is like a house with the doors wide open, lights blazing, food on the table, and a sign that says, take what you want. And trust me, people will take. They'll take your energy, your time, your peace, your love, until you wake up empty, wondering why nobody poured back into you. But when you set boundaries, when you say, this house has rules, this life has standards, this heart has value, you don't push people away. You invite the right people to step up and respect you. Here's the truth. People don't remember what you say as much as they remember what you tolerate. If you keep letting people show up late and still entertain them, they'll think your time is worthless. If you keep letting people speak to you disrespectfully and still pick up their calls, they'll believe your dignity is negotiable. But the moment you enforce a boundary, calmly, clearly, unapologetically, you teach the world how to treat you. That is how you build an unapologetic life. Not by screaming, not by begging, but by holding steady. Now, I know setting boundaries can feel scary, especially if you're used to people pleasing. You think, if I say no, they'll be mad. If I stand up for myself, they'll leave. But here's the flip side. If they get angry because you respected yourself, if they walk away because you didn't let them use you, then they were never for you in the first place. Better to lose a man who only wanted the weaker version of you than to lose yourself trying to keep him. Boundaries reveal truth. They don't just protect you. They filter out the ones who don't deserve you. Let's be real for a second. A man who left you, he probably got used to you making yourself smaller for his comfort. He probably thought you'd always be there, always forgiving, always bending. But when you start building your own apologetic life, when you start living in alignment with your values, when you start saying, no, that doesn't work for me, you flip the script. You're no longer the woman who waits around to be chosen. You become the woman who chooses who gets access. And let me tell you, nothing makes a man regret losing you faster than watching you move from please love me to I know my worth and only those who honor it get close. An unapologetic life also means you stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. If you don't want to go somewhere, don't write a whole essay about it. Just say, I won't make it. If you're focused on your healing, you don't owe anyone an explanation about why you're not entertaining drama. If you cut off someone toxic, you don't need to broadcast it. Your boundary is your explanation. Your peace is your proof. That kind of confidence is magnetic. People start to look at you differently because they see you respect yourself enough not to waste words defending your decisions. And here's the part that changes everything. When you build an unapologetic life, you stop attracting people who want to take advantage of you, and you start attracting people who value the strength it takes to protect your peace. Good men, strong friendships, new opportunities. They show up because your boundaries act like a filter. You're no longer begging for crumbs. You're sitting at a full table, inviting only those who bring respect with them. Now imagine this, the same man who thought you'd never say no, the same man who thought he could come and go in your life as he pleased, now sees you moving different. You don't argue, you don't chase, you simply enforce. You smile when it's real, you walk away when it's not. And suddenly he realizes, not because you told him, not because you posted about it, but because your life demonstrates it, that he lost access to a woman who finally knows her value. That realization is regret in its purest form. So build your own unapologetic life. Wear your boundaries proudly like your name. Let them be your brand, the unshakable message that says, I know who I am. I know what I deserve. And I will not apologize for protecting it. Because once you live like that, you don't have to make anybody regret losing you. Your life will do it for you. Glow up, don't get even. There's a moment after somebody walks out of your life where the temptation hits hard. You want to prove they were wrong. You want to post something slick, drop little hints online, maybe even throw shade so they know you're not hurting. That's what getting even looks like. But let me tell you something, revenge might taste sweet in the moment, but it always leaves you feeling empty afterward. Because when you make your whole mission about proving somebody else wrong, you're still giving them your power. You're still letting them control the narrative of your life. And the truth is, the loudest revenge is not revenge at all. It's a glow up so bright that you don't even have to say their name. A glow up is not just about makeup, new clothes, or hitting the gym. Sure, that's part of it, but the real glow up goes deeper. It's about leveling up every part of your life so that your happiness, your success, and your peace of mind shine without effort. A glow up says, I don't have to get back at you. I'm too busy building a life you'll wish you never let go of. That's why this step is so powerful. It's not about them at all. It's about reclaiming your story one action at a time. Let's start with the physical glow up. Not because looks are everything, but because when you feel good in your body, you carry yourself differently. You don't slump, you don't hide. You walk tall, and that energy speaks before you open your mouth. So maybe you decide to get serious about your health, not to make anyone jealous, but because your body deserves care. You start drinking more water, moving your body, eating food that fuels you instead of drags you down. After a few weeks, you notice the change. Your skin glows, your posture improves, your energy rises. And when people see you, they don't see heartbreak, they see transformation. Then there's the mental glow up. That's where you stop feeding your mind junk food. No more obsessing over his social media. No more replaying the breakup like it's your favorite sad song. Instead, you start feeding your mind with books, podcasts, and conversations that stretch you. You learn something new, maybe a language, maybe a skill, maybe a course that builds your career. The more knowledge you pack into yourself, the less space there is for bitterness. And that confidence that comes from being sharp, focused, and capable. That's a glow nobody can deny. Next is the emotional glow up. This is where you stop hiding behind toughness and actually allow yourself to heal. Healing doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to face the pain without letting it define you. So you start journaling your feelings instead of bottling them. You go to therapy or talk to people you trust instead of keeping it all inside. You set time aside to rest and recharge without guilt. And day by day, you notice the tears dry up and the laughter comes back. That's when people look at you and say, wow, she looks lighter. That's not makeup or clothes. That's peace, and peace is the ultimate glow. But we can't forget about the financial glow up. Nothing speaks louder than independence. Maybe during that relationship you put your dreams on hold, or you spent more money than you should have trying to keep things together. Now's the time to flip the script. You start budgeting, saving, investing. You pick up a side hustle or go for that promotion. You pay down debt, build your credit, and set goals that make your future secure. Because let me tell you, nothing makes someone rethink losing you more than seeing you thrive financially, not needing a single dime from anyone. Independence is attractive and security is magnetic. And then there's the social glow up. This one is often overlooked, but it's powerful. When you stop isolating yourself and start surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, your whole vibe changes. You make time for your friends, reconnect with family, join groups or communities where people share your passions. Suddenly, your weekends aren't spent scrolling through old photos. They're filled with laughter, trips, dinners, and moments that remind you life is bigger than heartbreak. That joy becomes contagious, and when others see you living fully, they realize you're unstoppable. All of these glow-ups together create a new version of you. Not a pretend version, not a polished mask, but a real, elevated version who shines without trying. And here's the best part when you glow up. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to tag anyone in it. You don't have to prove a single thing. Your energy speaks, your presence speaks, your results speak. That's when the regret comes in silently, powerfully, naturally. Because while you were busy investing in yourself, he was busy underestimating you. And now he has to watch you rise without him. So don't waste your time getting even. That keeps you stuck in the same old story. Instead, invest that energy into glowing up. Build your body, your mind, your heart, your money, and your circle until you're unrecognizable. Not because you've changed into someone else, but because you finally stepped into the person you were always meant to be. That is the sweetest, most undeniable form of victory. And it requires no words at all. Live with integrity. Refuse the drama when somebody hurts you, betrays you, or walks away from you. The easiest thing in the world is to get messy. You want to shout, you want to clap back, you want to post cryptic messages online so everybody knows you're not the one to be played with. That's the world we live in now, where drama sells, where chaos gets the clicks, and where the loudest person in the room seems to win. But here's the truth, the drama might get you attention, but it will never get you respect. If you want to rise above, if you want to make somebody regret losing you without saying a single word, then you've got to choose the higher road. You've got to live with integrity and refuse the drama, no matter how tempting it might be. Integrity is about being the same person when nobody's watching as you are when everybody's watching. It's about holding your head high and living in such a way that your actions can speak louder than your emotions. See, people expect you to fall apart when they leave. They expect you to go wild, to lose yourself, to break down in public. They almost look for it just so they can feel justified about walking away. But when you refuse the drama, when you stay calm, focused, and graceful, you rob them of that satisfaction. You show them that your peace of mind is not for sale. Refusing the drama doesn't mean you pretend the pain isn't real. It doesn't mean you swallow everything down and act like you don't care. It means you make a conscious choice not to let the pain run your life. Instead of lashing out, you channel it into growth. Instead of broadcasting your heartbreak, you protect your dignity. Because here's the thing, when you get messy, you're really just giving free promotion to the person who hurt you. But when you stand tall in silence, when you live in integrity, the silence itself becomes deafening. People see it. They wonder how you're managing. And the one who walked away, they feel the weight of what they lost. Living with integrity also means you stop playing games. No more late night texts to stir curiosity. No more accidental run-ins just to get noticed. No more back and forth arguments that leave you drained. Integrity says, I value myself too much to be part of confusion. You don't have to prove you've moved on. You live like you've moved on. That's the difference. Drama keeps you tied to the past, but integrity frees you for the future. Think of it like this. Every time you engage in drama, you spend energy that could have been invested in building yourself. Every subtweet, every argument, every petty stunt is like throwing money into a fire. It burns hot for a moment, but it leaves you broke in the end. Integrity, on the other hand, is like saving and investing. It may not feel flashy in the moment, but over time it builds wealth, emotional wealth, spiritual wealth, reputational wealth. And that kind of wealth makes people look at you and say, she didn't just survive, she thrived. One of the greatest powers you can have is restraint. When somebody pushes your buttons, when they try to drag your name through the mud, and you choose not to react, that's not weakness. That's power, that's control. Because you're not dancing to their tune anymore. You're playing your own music. And when you're calm, they're forced to sit with their own actions. Trust me, that silence eats away at them more than any insult ever could. And here's another thing, when you live with integrity, you build credibility. People start to respect you because they see you don't get caught up in mess. Your reputation grows stronger. Opportunities start to come your way because people trust you. They know you won't fold under pressure. They know you won't act reckless. They know you're steady. And that's when the glow becomes undeniable. Not only are you proving to yourself that you can handle anything, but you're also showing the world that you are unshakable. Drama's temporary. It's a spark that burns out quick. But integrity lasts forever. Integrity is the foundation you build your new life on. Integrity is what makes you walk into a room and turn heads without having to say a word. And integrity is what makes the person who lost you sit back and think, I didn't just lose a partner. I lost someone solid, someone rare, someone I'll probably never find again. So when you feel that urge to get even, to fight back, to stir the pot, stop and remind yourself, I'm too valuable to play in the mud. Protect your peace. Protect your dignity. Life's so clean, so focused, so rooted in integrity that the drama looks small compared to the light you carry. Because when you refuse the drama and live with integrity, you don't just win the moment, you win the long game. And that's the kind of victory nobody can take away from you. Live with integrity. Refuse the drama when life throws betrayal, heartbreak, or disappointment your way. The first impulse is often to fight fire with fire. You feel the sting of rejection or disrespect, and suddenly the urge rises. Clap back, tell your side, expose the truth, post something slick that will make them squirm. It's human nature to want the world to know you were wrong. But here's the trap. Drama feels powerful for a moment, but it robs you of true strength. It pulls you into a cycle where you look reactive, bitter, and small. If your goal is to rise above, to command respect, to make someone realize your worth without uttering a single word, then the only real path is to live with integrity and flat out refuse the drama. Integrity means you are rooted. You don't shift with the winds of gossip or bend with the weight of anger. You stand solid in your values whether the lights are on you or nobody's watching at all. Living with integrity after heartbreak means you do not allow somebody else's actions to dictate your character. It means you refuse to let the pain change the essence of who you are. Anyone can lose control when they're hurt. Anyone can lash out. But the ones who rise, the ones who command attention without trying, are the ones who choose dignity when the world expects drama. Understand this. Friends are watching. Family is watching. Sometimes even the person who hurt you is waiting, almost hoping to see you unravel. Because if you unravel, they feel justified in leaving. If you act wild, they can point the finger and say, "See, I was right." But when you move with integrity, calm, collected, focused, you strip them of that excuse. You leave them with nothing to hold on to but the memory of your strength, that silence, that composure, that refusal to get messy becomes a mirror they have to face. And often it stings more than anything you could ever say. Refusing drama is not about denying your pain. You're human and hurt will come. It's not about faking joy or bottling your emotions until you explode. It's about choosing where and how to process. Instead of blasting your feelings on social media, you write in a journal. Instead of screaming at someone who won't listen, you take a long walk, pray, or talk it out with a trusted friend. You redirect the energy. You take the same fire that could have burned your reputation down and use it to build yourself up. That's what integrity looks like in practice. Not perfection, but discipline. Integrity also shows up in how you handle relationships after the breakup. You don't play games. You don't try to make someone jealous. You don't lower your standards just to prove you've moved on. Games are drama. They keep you tethered to the same cycles you're trying to escape. Integrity says, I know my worth. I don't need to manipulate anyone into seeing it. That quiet confidence is louder than any revenge scheme could ever be. Think about how powerful it feels when you meet someone who's unshakable. No matter what storms come, they don't get dragged into gossip. They don't respond to every insult. They don't waste energy on pettiness. Instead, they move with a kind of grace that commands respect. That's the energy you create when you refuse drama. You become the person who carries peace into the room. People notice. They can't help but notice. And the one who walked away, he notices most of all. Drama is short-lived. It might give you a rush today, but tomorrow it leaves you empty. Integrity, on the other hand, builds legacy. It strengthens your name, your reputation, your spirit. When you live with integrity, you attract better people because healthy people recognize and respect it. You create opportunities because employers, friends, and partners know they can trust you. And most importantly, you preserve your self-respect. Nothing feels better than looking in the mirror and knowing you stayed true to yourself, even when you had every reason to lash out. So the next time the urge rises to argue, to prove, to perform for an audience that doesn't even matter, pause, breathe. Remember who you are and what you're building. Drama fades, but integrity shines. By refusing to get pulled into the mess, you step into a higher league, one where your peace is untouchable, your dignity is intact, and your silence speaks volumes. And when you choose that path consistently, you don't just make someone regret losing you, you make them realize they never deserved the version of you that walks with that kind of power, Walk your value. Move on with purpose. There comes a moment after heartbreak when you have to make a decision. Are you going to keep circling around what was, or are you going to step into what's next? Too many people get stuck standing at the closed door, waiting for it to swing back open, waiting for an apology that may never come, waiting for somebody else to recognize their worth. But when you really understand your value, when you know deep in your spirit that you are the prize, you stop waiting. You stop begging. You stop rehearsing the past. You start walking, not with bitterness, not with desperation, but with clarity and purpose. That is what it means to walk your value and move on with intention. Walking your value begins with the way you see yourself. Value is not about the approval of another person. It's about recognizing what you carry, what you bring, and who you are even when nobody else claps for you. A diamond doesn't stop being a diamond just because someone threw it away. A masterpiece doesn't lose its worth just because it hangs in the wrong gallery. You are valuable because of the essence of who you are. Your heart, your vision, your gifts, your resilience. When you really believe that you no longer measure your worth by who stayed or who left. You measure it by how aligned you are with the life you were meant to live. Moving on with purpose means you don't just drift forward, filling your time with distractions or empty connections. It means you take deliberate steps toward the life you want to build. Purpose requires direction. It asks you to get clear on what matters most to you. Maybe you put dreams on hold in that relationship. Maybe you lost yourself trying to fit into someone else's story. Now is the time to pick those dreams back up, to rewrite your story with you as the lead. Every day you ask yourself, does this choice honor my worth? Does this path move me closer to the life I desire? That kind of intentional living builds a future so strong that regret naturally follows those who let you go. Walking in your value also requires standards. Without standards, anybody can walk in and out of your life and you'll keep shrinking yourself to fit what they want. But when you set clear standards, when you decide what you will and will not accept, you filter out the noise. You stop entertaining people who treat you as an option. You stop negotiating your dignity. Standards aren't about arrogance. They're about alignment. They keep you from repeating cycles that drain you. And when someone does come along who meets those standards, they'll know they're dealing with a person who respects herself too much to settle for less than she deserves. Part of moving on with purpose is giving yourself permission to release the past fully. That means you don't keep reopening the door for someone who already walked out. You don't answer late, night texts from someone who doesn't truly value you. You don't keep checking their social media, replaying conversations, or fantasizing about them showing up with flowers and apologies. Every time you do that, you're standing still. But moving on with purpose means you face forward. You accept that what's behind you no longer defines you. And you trust that what's ahead of you will be greater than anything you left behind. There's also a spiritual side to walking your value. When you know your worth, you understand that you were created with intention, that your life has meaning beyond any relationship. That awareness gives you peace. You stop chasing validation because you already know you are seen. You stop grasping for attention because you already know you are chosen. That confidence radiates from the inside out, and people can't help